Bob Lentz wants to start a revolution, and he wants you to join him. In his new book, Dignity Revolution, Bob uses the many stories he's collected over the years after speaking to over 500,000 teens and adults all over North America. He's challenging young people to see the beauty in our differences instead of bullying those who might not fit in. Also joining us today is Alexis Higgins, a 19-year-old youth leader to grade 8 girls who knows intimately what it's like to be bullied and has learned to overcome the pain. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So, Bob, I first want to talk to you. Dignity Revolution, what does that mean?
You know, I really hope that somehow we can see, if you see that word love and revolution, and if we can really see, and I know some people think I have my head in the clouds because I think love can change the world, but I really want to see a place where every person, no matter how different they are, no matter what their strengths or their weaknesses, challenges or whatever they're about, is loved and accepted and says, this is a place where I belong and I matter.
How important would that been for you, Alexis? I know you have a story of being bullied twice, both in elementary school and in high school.
I feel like that would be something that I needed to hear, something that would have helped me through all the stuff that I went through, and it would have been meant a great deal to me.
Tell us a little bit about what happened.
I was bullied a lot in elementary school, high school. It was just kind of nothing specific, just kind of for whatever reason. They decided that I would be an easy target. I was quite shy, laid back, so I kind of kept to myself, and I guess they saw that as something that I wouldn't really say anything. So yeah, it was difficult.
Yeah, how difficult was it? Like, what did you go through? I mean, mentally going to school knowing that you would be that target.
It was really hard. A lot of times I didn't want to go to school. That was mostly in elementary school. I had a lot of friends that helped me through that, so it was good to kind of have their support and to be able to talk to them about what's going on and just get their advice on it.
And I know you said that your friends supported you. They kept saying to you, Alexis, don't believe what they say.
Yeah.
Bob, tell us how important that is to have a circle of friends around you, especially when you're being bullied, to say, nothing's wrong with you, you're fine.
Well, you know, one of the things we always say is like, and I'm sorry to be so graphic, that's the kind of guy I am, but if somebody was sick and they threw up on you, you wouldn't say that that was my fault. You wouldn't say, well, you know, I'm such a bad person, they decided to throw up on me. And you especially won't go over and over and smear that over on you. You would go, that was them, they're the one who are sick, they need help, it's not me. And wash yourself up and get rid of that. And yet what happens when people say things, and I'm not sure what they've even done to you, maybe you could even tell us, but when people say things to us or treat us or don't treat us, to exclude us or ostracize us or put us down, so many times we run that over again, over and over in our heads, and we believe it instead of saying, that was them, not me. But so many times because we get our value from others, that's the flip side of what you're saying, and how important to have somebody who's going to be there saying, you know what, I love you just the way you are. I accept you just the way you are. Whether you fit into what society says you need to be, and guys have to have the six-pack abs, and I do, it's just under a lot of other stuff, and the girls have to have the curves all in the right spots, and going, I'm not going to accept it anymore because I'm going to listen to truth. I'm going to listen to this circle of friends and not these who have, regurgitated on me.
Yeah. Alexis, when you were going through that, did it play with your mind, like what Bob is saying? Did you think maybe something's wrong with me? Maybe I need to be different?
A little bit. I learned to kind of get past that and to just ignore that. Obviously, God would have helped me through that kind of stuff, and as well as my friends that just kind of like don't believe in that kind of stuff because that's not who you are, and that's not who God made you to be.
Yeah.
Can you share with us maybe some of the things they've said to you or how they treated you and maybe that others can identify with?
Yeah, it was just kind of not super specific kind of stuff, just name calling, things that you wouldn't expect people to say to you, things that just they would just ignore me or kind of talk behind the back, that kind of stuff. So it was kind of your, if you want to call it typical bullying, but it was still, it's still difficult, hard, you know.
Yeah. And that's why, Bob, you say we need to have this revolution. There are 4 reasons that you outline in your book that kind of exemplify why we need to show people dignity, show people respect.
Right. And the first one is whatever society says you have to be, have, or do to feel good about you. So society's put this little agenda on us and said you have to be a certain way, do something, and fit in this way in order to be accepted. And I'm saying it's not working. 9 out of 10 people want to change something about themselves, and the other person is probably just lying to themselves. And instead of saying, I am who God made me, and I am different, and that's okay. That's the number one.
Yeah. And what are the other?
The other one is society, it's not working, it's not fair. So my sister Lois, if you remember the curve bell, the bell curve that we all use, and we have 10% that are gifted, and we have 10% that are cold handicapped, and 80% of us in the middle who are quote normal. But then we go, just because a guy is 7 feet tall or he's good at athletes, then it can be accepted. Or just because this girl looks a certain way, or they have money, or they have influence, then there's somebody. Then what did that say about my sister who over here, was she just luggage to be thrown away or discarded? And I think society today has put more value on garbage, on recycling, and going, even this waste has value than how much more a person. And Jesus said what? If the birds of the field, right, or the birds of the air and the lilies of the field have value, how much more one person that nobody should be treated. Nobody should have to walk through life going, I'm invisible. I don't matter. That yes, you do. That's not fair to say my sister Lois's luggage to be left over, and if you don't have enough to get her on, she's a detriment to society. That no, every person, no matter what level, is worthwhile. And then to see how this is controlling us, my goodness, I hate to admit it, but when I start thinking, do I let truth and that group of friends and the people that do support me, is that how I make my choices? Or do I make my choices with the lies of, you don't measure up, you'll never be anything, you're not as good as your sister, you're not as good as, you didn't make the team, you didn't, and you're just quiet anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm going, how do we find the power to say no to that system and yes to who we're meant to be? And I believe that's a revolution of love.
Yeah. I know, Alexis, we were talking about how you're now a youth leader, and you're able to pour into young girls in grade 8 who are kind of going through similar situations that you've gone through. Tell us about how important that is, that you're able to share your story.
Oh, it's so important, so incredibly important. I feel like I can relate to them a lot better, just because I've experienced some of the stuff that they're going through, and they know that I have a story and that I'm willing to share it with them, and it makes them feel like they can be more open with me, and they feel like because I'm relating to them that it's not something that they're going through on their own. It's that something that I'm going to be able to help them through. I know what it's like, so I can help them.
You're speaking from a place of experience.
For sure.
Yeah. How important is that, Bob, that Alexis is now able to pour into the next generation?
Well, I think 2 things that really hit there is, number one is you're telling them they're not alone. Because when you're feeling hopeless and there's no help, you feel like I'm the only one, nobody understands, and you get inward that way. But then that second part, which I'm so proud of you, to be able to go, how do I help somebody else? And my dad always said, because a lot of people, if you're like when you first started, I don't know if you were like, but I don't know what to say. Like, what if I say the wrong thing? And my dad said, Bob, there's a reason you have 2 ears and 1 mouth. You should listen twice as much as you speak. Really, he just said, quiet down and listen. But I think that's what he meant. But if we really do that, when you actually listen to somebody, because what you're doing is 2 things. You're listening to their story, and that every story matters. That your experiences and your pains, don't try to compare to somebody else. Those matter. But then you, by getting your eyes off of yourself, isn't it weird? When you're helping somebody else, because like when I'm like trying to do it for myself, you know, I'm still feeling that emptiness. But when you're now a leader, I can just see this confidence in you. Like when you're talking about when you're being bullied versus when you're going,
She likes that.
Oh, did you see
Yeah,
it?
I saw it.
And don't you want that for every person? And don't you want that for every grade 8 girl and boy to say, I matter. I have something to offer society. My pain matters and my gifts matter. And I can make this world a better place.
You have to empower them, for sure.
And you're doing that, so way to go. I mean, but doesn't this give hope as well? Maybe if somebody is listening and going through that pain, look, you can make it. Don't give up in the middle of it. Don't give in to it. That we can turn it around. We can go that next step. And you're living proof of that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
The book is called Dignity Revolution, Standing Up for the Value of Every Person. Thank you so much, Bob.
Oh, thanks for being here. And
Thanks again,
and
Alexis.
thank you so much for sharing your story.
We're joining the revolution.
Let's do it. You can take the pledge online.
Yes.
DignityRevolutionPledge.com. And you can, right there, you can print it out, put it in your purse or in your wallet, and have it to say, I'm going to treat every person with respect and stand up for my own value in a proper, appropriate, loving way.
Thanks again.